Hello, hello, Yellow Room. Alrighty, so today's lesson for writing, we're going to be talking about revising. So last week you wrote your rough drafts, and I'm still in the process of reading through them. Hopefully, I'll have them done today or tomorrow. So make sure that you take a look at those, at any feedback that I leave for you on your rough draft. But let's talk about revising. So now that we've written our rough drafts, it's time to revise and make improvements to our writing. So when we're talking about revising, we are not necessarily talking about capitals, punctuations, and all of that stuff. We're more talking about the actual writing. So we have kind of this checklist here, which is going to be super helpful for us. So, what you need to do is read through your narrative, and I recommend reading it out loud rather than just reading it in your head. Sometimes when we read it out loud, it makes it easier to hear when our sentences don't make as much sense, right? Our brain tends to kind of fill in the gaps if we read it in our head to make it make sense for us. But if we read it out loud, then we can hear what is going on. If you prefer not to read it out loud, you can copy and paste it into a text to speech program or something like that and listen to somebody else read it, listen to the computer read it. You can even have someone at home read it. A mom, dad, brother, sister, somebody at home can read it too. So there's a couple of things that you need to look for. So in the beginning, you want to make sure that you included a strong lead that'll grab the attention of your readers. If you didn't, make sure that you fix it. You also want to make sure that you use details to describe the setting and you introduced important characters. If there's any part of that beginning that you didn't include, make sure that you include it. In the middle, you want to make sure that you included sensory details in all of your descriptions, and this goes for all of your paragraphs. You want to make sure that you used transitions to show a sequence of events. If you didn't use transitions, make sure you add them. And make sure that you included dialogue. If you didn't include any dialogue, this is the perfect time to add some dialogue in. For your ending, you want to make sure that your narrative has a very clear ending and that you shared your thoughts, feelings, and reactions or a lesson that you learned from your experience. You also want to end with a strong closing line. So if you're missing any part of that for your end, for your final paragraph, make sure that you add that in. Overall, there's a couple of questions that you need to ask yourself. Do my sentences and paragraphs flow and make sense? So do your sentences make sense? Do the words make sense? Do the paragraphs make sense? Is it going in order? Next question, do I need to add or delete any words? Did you use the wrong word? Do you need to fix any words? Go through and see if you need to fix or add or get rid of any words. Next question, do I need to move or change the placement of any words or sentences? Do you have any sentences or any parts that are out of order, that are not in chronological order from beginning to end? If so, maybe move them around. Is there a sentence that you see that might not work very well where it is, but it'll work better somewhere else? Move it. Next question, can I substitute any words to vary my word choice and add meaning? So when you look at your dialogue, are you using said a lot? Like she said, he said, they said, I said. Can you find any other words that you can use for said? Things like walked or went or any of those really common words. Can you change any of those words to add more meaning, to add more description to your writing? And the last question, did I vary my sentence style? Do all of your sentences sound the same? Are they all following kind of the same sentence pattern? If they are, try to make some changes. Try to have some longer sentences and some shorter sentences. Try to use a variety of words, right? You have that document that was posted a couple of weeks ago, the Banish Boring Words. Take a look at that and see if there's any words that you might want to substitute in. All right, so what I want you to do Once you've read through your paragraph, through your narrative, and you've read through it several times, so that means more than once, and you've gone through the checklist and you've made revisions, then I want you to save it again as a PDF and submit it back on Canvas. Okay? So, another thing that I want you to be mindful of is from our notes from last week. So, for your beginning, you need to have one paragraph. And remember, your paragraphs should be about 5 to 7 sentences. For your middle, for your body paragraphs, you should have at least 1 to 2 paragraphs. If you don't have a middle, make sure that you add one. And for your ending, you should have 1 paragraph, your conclusion paragraph. So in total, you need to have at least 3 paragraphs. I'd like to see more, but at least 3. Some other things to consider, to think about. Did you use sentences or phrases like, "this is my personal narrative," or "I'm going to tell you about the time I," or "this is when I"? Did you use any sentences like that? If you did, fix that. Did you use transition words? Did you use the 5 senses? Did you talk about sensory details? Did you list your characters out, or did you describe them? Did you describe your setting? Are you using transitions like after that, meanwhile, before? Does your dialogue have dialogue tags? Make sure that they do. And does your ending say something like "the end," or "this was the time I," or something like that? If it does, fix it. If you run into any questions or you're not sure about something while you're revising, please let me know. Again, please also keep in mind that I am in the process of going through your rough drafts. So I may notice a couple of things, and I'll leave feedback on your rough drafts for you. So I should have them done today, but a couple may be finished tomorrow. But please make sure that you are checking those when they are, after I go through them, because I will leave feedback for you. I will read all of your essay. I will read the whole rough draft. Okay? So, if you have any questions, please let me know. Please remember that you need to submit your revised rough draft in PDF format on Canvas. Please do not share it with me via Google Docs. Do not share it with me via Google Docs. Okay, if you share it with me via Google Docs, it will get lost in my inbox. Do not share it with me via Google Docs. You must save it as a PDF. And as a reminder to save a Google Doc as a PDF, it's going to look a little bit different since this is slides, but it's the same basic idea. You click on File, click on Download, and then click on PDF. And then submit that PDF into Canvas. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a fantastic day, Yellow Room.